Today I'm going to be teaching you how I make my really cute minimal bikini bottoms, so stay tuned if you're interested. First thing that you'll need is a pattern, and I have a Principle PDF pattern for these bottoms available in the description box below if you want to follow along exactly. Here we have our fabric weights, rotary cutter, matching polyester thread, clear ruler, our fabric scissors, pins, loop turner, serger, elastic application serger foot, our clear elastic, sewing machine, and in addition to the clear elastic, we're also going to be using a braided elastic to sew the straps for the bottoms today. And I found that I like to use the braided elastic over the clear elastic for the straps on these bottoms because I found that it just holds on to the hips a lot better and it's a bit more stretchy. So before you start cutting anything out, you need to decide which fabric you're going to be using for what. And today I'm going to be making these bottoms completely reversible, and I'm going to make one side plaid, one side light blue, and the straps are going to be a dark blue. Whenever you are making these bottoms, you want to keep in mind that you want to cut out 2 front pieces, 2 back pieces, and 2 straps. Since I am making this bottom reversible today, I'm going to be cutting out 1 front piece and 1 back piece of each color fabric that I'm using. For example, 1 front piece and 1 back piece of the plaid, and 1 front piece and 1 back piece of this light blue. I'm going to make the straps this dark blue, but if I wasn't going to make it reversible, then I would just cut out 2 front pieces and 2 back pieces of the fabric that I'm using. And today we will be needing 2 straps, 1 1/4 of an inch wide by 4 inches. And the way that I'm going to cut that out is just 1 1/4 of an inch by 8 inches. And then once I add the elastic onto the strap, then I'll go ahead and cut it in half so that I have 2 straps that are 4 inches long. So I'm going to go ahead and cut everything out. Keep in mind that whenever you are placing your pattern, you want the greatest stretch of your fabric to go from side to side. And also whenever you see this fold arrow here, you want to make sure that your fabric is folded and you just place it on top. Alright, so we just finished cutting everything out. We have our 2 front pieces, as well as our 2 back pieces, and our 8 inch by 1 1/4 of an inch strap. So the next thing that we need to do is group together our pieces that are of the same fabric. And next I'm going to turn them to where right sides are facing. And now for these 2 pieces, we are just going to serge along this edge here with no elastic attached, and serge along this edge here with no elastic attached. Keep in mind that if you need to pin any edges down before you serge them together, that's completely fine. Alright, so as you can see, we just completely finished serging our crotch seams together. And now we're just going to open both of them up and place one on top of the other with right sides facing. So I'm going to flip one on top of the other with right sides facing, and keep in mind that you want these seams sticking out for both sides. And once you have it lined up pretty evenly, you can go ahead and pin these sides together if you need to, but we are just going to serge along all of these edges with elastic attached. And we are going to make sure to avoid these sides right here. So go ahead and serge along all sides with elastic attached, except for these 4 here. Alright, so as you can see, we just finished serging our edges together with elastic, making sure to leave these little sides open. So next we are going to get our 8-inch strap that we cut out, and we are going to fold it right sides facing, and we are just going to serge along this edge with elastic attached, but this time we are going to be using the braided elastic instead of the clear elastic. As you can see, we just added the elastic to this 8-inch strap, and now I'm just going to turn it right side out with my loop turner. Alright, so I just turned it right side out, and now I'm just going to place this to the side. Alright, so before we attach our strap to our bottoms, we do want to make a hole in the seam in an unnoticeable place. I like to go ahead and use the back, but you can always use the side, whichever you feel comfortable. So I'm going to make this hole about 1 to 2 inches wide, just large enough for me to turn the project right side out. And you can use a seam ripper to create this hole in the seam, but I'm just going to be using fabric scissors. I'm just going to cut at the thread, making sure to avoid the elastic and the fabric. So as you can see here, I just made a hole in the seam, and the next step is to cut our 8-inch strap right in half to make 2 4-inch straps. This next part can get a little bit tricky, so I wanted to draw out a simplified picture of what I'm going to be doing. So we're going to be using our loop turner to pull the strap from the front to the back or the back to the front on each side. Whenever I am pulling the strap through, I want to make sure that it stays nice and flat. That'll make sure that our strap isn't twisted whenever we turn our bottoms right side out. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is that these straps, whenever you are pulling them both in, are completely separated because you don't want them to get intertwined. Once you pull your strap completely through and you have a little bit of your strap sticking outside of these holes, you want to go ahead and sew everything down about 1/2 inch from this edge here on all 4 sides. Also, since your strap is significantly smaller than the rest of your bottoms, whenever you are doing this, your bottoms are going to scrunch up, and you won't really be able to see anything because everything is inside of these bottoms. So you're going to have to use your hands to feel and make sure that everything is lined up the way that it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that right now. Make sure to have your pins ready for this part. So I'm just going to take my loop turner, put it in through the hole here, and we're going to go from the front to the back. Make sure that you're on the same side. So go ahead and push it through. Once I have the end of my loop turner sticking out, I can hook on the strap. And you can go ahead and pin this part down. Make sure everything remains straight. Once you have it to this edge, you're going to pin this down as well. And so this is what it's going to look like. Completely scrunched up, but the ends of our straps are connected here. And now we are just going to use our sewing machine and sew about 1/2 inch from this edge here. And I like to do one side first and then move on to the next side, so I'm going to go ahead and do that for this one strap. So that is one side completely done. I forgot to mention that whenever you do sew it down, make sure to backstitch a bunch of times here. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off this excess fabric. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side that I pinned down. So there you have it. We have both sides of our strap sewn down onto the bottoms. And now we just need to do the same exact thing for the other strap. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that now. Just remember that when you are putting your loop turner in and pulling your strap through, not to get it tangled with the strap that's already in. Keep it completely separate. So at this point, your bottoms will just look like a big ball. And the next step that we're going to do is turn our bottoms right side out. So I'll go ahead and find the hole that I made in the seam earlier and just pull everything out. And the last thing that you need to do for these bottoms is just secure this hole here. You could either top stitch right on top of it, or you can hand sew it to keep everything seamless. And that is how I make my minimal reversible seamless bikini bottoms. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, I will see you later.